Welcome, everybody, to Chapter 46 of LegionsCast. Chapter 46, fresh off from PowerCon. I am Lord Steve Bishotti. With me is Emil Wickman, as always.
Hello, everyone.
Len is not here. Len chose family vacation over being with us tonight, and I don't think that was the right choice, but that's what he did. So instead, we dug deep and we grabbed our friend Joe Vassapolo. Joe, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it. How's it going?
It's going good, man.
Good. Great to have you on.
No, thanks for having me.
So Joe, how you handling it? You were I just saw you at PowerCon. We were right across from each other, across the aisle. I was looking at you. You were looking at me. I felt the connection. It was a good time. But now you're back in the studio. Are you rested up yet? Are you got traction yet from the trip?
Nah, that's what energy drinks are for. Wake up groggy and it's like, I think I got a liquid that can cure this in about 10 minutes for the next 6 hours. And we go from there. And, I didn't sleep well on the trip because I wanted to, hang out and talk to people and get back to the room. Like, I should sleep. But first, we're going to play with all the toys we bought today. And then 2 hours later, I realized, I need to be downstairs in 4.5 hours. I guess we better go Betty by. The cycle has repeated since I've been back. But I tell you, it was a lot of fun. It was my first PowerCon. It was an exciting time, and the guys were pretty happy with how everything went, and it was great to see the fans always so supportive. It was a dang good time. Yeah, and we had good neighbors.
We did.
You two were neighbors, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, my first purchase was from Steve.
It was.
That's right. Yep. Well, when you got the good stuff in front of you, you don't want it to, get swooped up, So, first table I hit.
Yeah.
That, and I had to see how the armies of Ashmore were looking.
Well, let's talk about them for a second. You got to see them, and you've seen them before. Obviously, the prototypes came from Four Horsemen Studios. But what did you think of the new editions or the new edition?
New edition. I had the pleasure of cleaning up the parts and putting that together at the studio. So when I finally got to see paint on it, the color choices that were used, the full vision, it was very exciting. I love that. That's one of those toy lines where I can think about, like, if I was younger, it would be one of my favorite things on earth. And I'm older, and they're so big. They're so big that it makes me feel little again. So yeah. It's just like it just kind of works out like that, and you can't go wrong with dinosaur barbarian guys from the future, other planet, dimension. I got to bone up on the story, but yeah, they're fun character designs, and they did great work.
They're fun character designs. Anybody who doesn't know what we're talking about, go check out Armies of Ashmore. There's a Facebook page. You could look up Defenders of Eden. It's from our friend Matt Rodriguez, who's kickstarted his own toy line. They're in China right now, going through the production process. And we had some of the paint masters at PowerCon for people's viewing pleasure. Fun, and we were right next to me. It was me and Matt sitting at the Armies of Ashmore table. I had some painted heads from Wolf King for sale. And then right next to us was D13. Chris was there with his Biblical Adventure shirt toys and shirts. And it was cool there to see a lot of his prototypes, and it was a really cool creative corner of the showroom floor right there. So yeah, we had a good time. Emil, were you gonna say something and I wouldn't stop talking?
Yeah, I was, but I realize I'm the third wheel here. Like, I understand that, or fifth wheel or whatever, because I'm just I'm just one of those guys who couldn't make it to PowerCon, and I realize it's well, it is fun. I have my cup of coffee here, and it's gonna be nice to sit here and listen to you. Honestly, it is gonna be great to hear your stories from PowerCon, okay? Because I mean, I just want to decide if it's worth taking a second trip there. Going both
Sure.
to Legions Con and PowerCon.
They're
Oh man.
significantly different,
Tell
Legion's
me.
Con, you know how focused that can be, but PowerCon is pretty broad, and there's a lot of independent toy makers that are out there. I mean, of course, I'm always happy to, exhibit stuff for the studio, but getting to see what everybody else is working on out there in the toy world is pretty darn exciting. Getting having a spotlight on those guys.
Mhm.
Uh, can't stand looking at things on a screen. I'd rather have the physical thing in front of me. So a lot of good looking stuff out there. A lot of things I haven't seen before, some I have and seen for the first time. Um, Lots of great deals. It'd be worth it. You'd be
I was
shipping a
looking at
box back.
YouTube. What?
You would be shipping a box back of goodies, I'm sure, but bring a few of your customs and I'm sure you can make some magic happen.
Well, yeah, that would be fun. but but honestly, I was sitting, I was searching YouTube as much as I could to find out. I mean, who were doing some kind of live from PowerCon at any time, and it was like I was so happy when I saw Brad and Michael walking around broadcasting some stuff. Trevor, Chris, Steven had something, but it was like it wasn't enough. You're sitting
Mm.
there, and as soon as people were talking, like, yeah, no, this is so fun. Oh, this is happening over here. Gotta end the live now. I need to go and check this out. So click, the live was over, and I was there.
Well, you know what? Next year, you're gonna have to mark it on your calendar.
I
Um,
guess.
Joe, before we get into the legions or stuff, was there anything there that stood out to you as far as other people that you got to see in person that was really cool? I can tell you one that I saw that blew me away, even though I've seen pictures of it, was the Super Sevens Cats layer. That thing was amazing in person. It's
Massive.
bigger. I don't know why they say it's kind of the same size as Snake Mountain, which people can see is right behind me. However, the Cat's lair for some reason looks just massively bigger for some reason. Yeah, it was really cool. So, did we lose Joe?
Yeah, we did.
Ah, we'll get
I
him
did
back.
not kicking him out.
He's back.
He's back.
There, I see him.
He glitched out. Okay. Yeah, I didn't get too good of a look at the cat's lair, to be honest. I just saw it through pictures and not really a big Thundercats guy.
Okay.
Yeah, but as far as things that really caught my eye, I have a lot of good and maybe not so good influences working at the studio here. And this trip, I got turned on to Glyos toys, which is what, Mythic was supposed to be originally. And getting to meet some of the gentlemen behind that line was pretty exciting, particularly ones that were very reminiscent of Battle Beasts. Because that Battle Beast is one of my favorite toy lines ever since I was a kid, and I don't even
I'm
own
here.
all the ones that I want or the ones that I like, and I couldn't even tell you which ones I own because I'm so familiar with all of them. Either I had them at some point, sold them off, or I know what room they're in the house. I don't know where in that room, unfortunately. So anytime I go to a toy show and think like, oh, I should pick a few up, and it's like I don't remember which ones I need. So so these guys they had a whole new well, maybe not new. They had a wave of Glyos figures that were very similar to Battle Beasts, and I'm like, well, I know I don't have any of those. So it was they were nice enough to gift me one or two, and afterwards I was like, well, I think I need to pick up another and another. And now I'm
What
like
are these
searching
called?
for old
What are these
ones.
called? We need the name.
This is the other sad part. I don't remember the name. I'm horrible with names. I know. I will figure that out. But the one that I got was a yellow and green like dragon looking guy, which from what I understand is like a super rare figure from way back that they made kind of like a
that was one of the
tribute
laser beasts.
Oh, right. Yeah. I'm not all that familiar with those for whatever reason. Just the more traditional ones with the the sticker on the chest that would change color when you touch it.
Those were my favorites as well.
Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, I mean, they're always around the office. Every now and then a box will get shipped to Eric and George, and they'll be looking at them. And for the longest time, I was just like, oh yeah, just kind of like admiring over shoulder, like those are cool, and I move on. But now maybe I'll be taking a little bit of a closer look at those, getting my own.
Awesome. Yeah, it was a good time.
How about you, Steve?
Man, I don't know if I really picked up anything out of the ordinary, or new to my collection. Let me think here. Other than obviously, Chris's little demons that he had, his little exclusives. Those are new to my world, but and very fun. He had these little translucent demons he was selling, an exclusive for this year's PowerCon.
I'm amazing they got turned around as fast as they did. I remember shipping the box of those out to the factory, and I'm amazed that they were able to get them. It was of course it was a limited run, but I'm surprised that they were able to turn them around so fast and get them there on time. That was awesome to see it come together.
Yeah, it's really fun. But yeah, I mean, getting to see Mondo stuff, the new Battle Cat, the new Trap Jaws.
Yeah.
Trap Jaws. Emil, I know Trap Jaws your favorite.
That is my guy, and I know you're talking about the tweeter head statue. I keep saying that I don't need it. Yeah, I'm a poor man.
We don't need any of this stuff.
We do. I think it's good for us.
Needs a strong word.
Okay then. But I saw the Filmation Trapjaw version from Mondo. Did you see any other Trapjaws that you haven't told me about, Steven?
Well, they had the other version there too.
The one that I have on pre-order.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
That you tricked me into getting.
I tricked you?
Yeah, you said it was for pre-order, then I got it. That's all you had to do.
No, that's not it.
Alakazam.
Yeah.
You can't blame me for that. You can't do that.
Just a nudge.
They looked fantastic, though, and I think when you do get that trap jaw, if I did trick you, you're going to be so very thankful that I did. So,
I don't want any more of the Mondo stuff. I just want the Trapjaw one with the black legs. That's what I'm. Yeah. I don't need the Mondos. Come on, can we move on? Because I think we'll wait until I get it. Okay. They look awesome. They look super great,
Yep. Yeah, I mean, so I guess to tell people about PowerCon, it is, and I'm sure this term gets used. I do feel it's a little bit of LegionsCon light, but it is, like Joe said, very different than LegionsCon. It's also
thanks, Greg.
Almost everything that you can desire is there. If you want vintage, it's there. If you want new creator stuff, it's there. If you want stuff that's, modern stuff, it's there. I mean, I bought some Vala figures. I bought some, obviously some Legion stuff. I bought vintage. I bought my last regular vintage line figure for Masters of the Universe to complete that line, which was
nice.
Hurricane Hordak. Buzzsaw Hordak, sorry. Buzzsaw Hordak. He's very hard to find with his buzzsaw.
So you're complete?
Well, it depends.
Do you have all the ones you want?
I have all the ones I want, basically.
Good.
The only two I'm missing from the American run now is the tops. Roton and Twistoid. So I guess a lot of people would say I'm not complete, but for me, I have no desire for those, and they were weird. And so for me, I've got a toy box full of every figure that I ever knew existed, because I don't even remember them from when I was a little kid. So that's cool. So it was a great time. And then the nightlife, man. We're hanging out. We're walking downtown. We're going to have drinks and food and chilling and talking to all kinds of... And for the nighttime, for me, I feel like it was pretty much all immersed in Legion's people. Fans. Other people from the Cabal and whatnot. That's kind of where I was. So that was the fun time. Felt like there was a wall that one night. I don't know if you noticed that, Joe, when we were up there, and it seemed like there was up there. We were at the hotel, kind of by the bar, and it felt like one side was just all Legion's people, and then you walked around there, and it was more old Masters of the Universe people from like He-Man.org and characters for people from that kind of thing. And I'm been involved in both, so it's kind of I could see the split. I'm like, oh, okay, this is this and this is this, and it was fun.
Yeah, except for all the people who had rooms above the area that we were hanging out at that one night, where hotel security basically came out and said, you don't have to go back to your rooms, but you got to move from here because we're getting noise complaints. It's like, oh, look at the time.
Yeah. I had exited, from what I hear, I exited just before that. So they couldn't kick me out. I left. Damn it.
On your own terms.
Yes.
Yeah.
So great time PowerCon was. So, this is a Legions podcast, so we are going to get into that side of things, because there's been a new wave announced, shown, being solicited at the moment. So Ox Crew Book 1, is that right, Joe?
Yep. Sounds about right. You know what? I didn't learn some of the names to these characters until Friday night, so even I need to look at them. I know that they're working titles essentially, but I'm sure it may be a little bit different from what they turned out to be. So I'm going to make sure I have it on my end.
I would be interested in the working titles, Joe.
The blue guy, the orange guy, pink girl, stranger, the beast, or Cookie Monster. The four-legged one, because it was I'm sure Cookie will appreciate this. Every now and then he has a PB&J sandwich for lunch because he's far smarter than the rest of us sometimes, and because he likes the grape jelly and peanut butter. The colors look like they belong on that creature, so we called it the Cookie Monster in the background.
Yeah. That was, and speaking of Cookie, that was another great thing about PowerCon, is it was Cookie's birthday. So,
yeah. At least 3-4 times.
Yeah, it was. We definitely had some birthdays, and birthdays are fun.
Yeah.
So
for us,
unless you're Cookie.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, buddy. If we didn't care, we didn't want to do it everywhere we go. Make a scene.
You can't get away from it, Kenny. They're even announcing it over the PA at PowerCon. So
thanks, by the way. So I didn't get a slap for it. So mission accomplished.
The Cookie birthday thing, just for people who don't know, just a super super short version of that it just happens to be Cookie's birthday every time there is a meetup, right?
Well, it's even more.
I'm summarizing it for people to understand, because they're like, there might be people out there who's sitting there like, is it his birthday now? Because I thought that was last month. And what are these guys talking about? And then people will feel like we don't understand. And then we can sit here and say, you do understand. He just has more than one birthday. So, okay, shall we move on to some photos that you guys have?
Sure.
And of course, I
Ooh.
wasn't there, so you guys can
Live
introduce me.
vicariously through us, yes.
So this was directly across from me. So this I stared at this a lot. Awesome. I don't know. Explain what that head is there for us, Joe. What that's
So that's Oleg Thygar. And yeah, there's a bust that we've had at a lot of shows, a lot of Legions cons. Made an appearance on an episode of Secession at some point in the background. We had given them some characters, some figures to just kind of use as like their characters for, I guess, a movie that they were doing, but it was absolutely, without doubt, not Cosmic Legions, and none of them resembled any names. You know, if they spoke about it or if you saw any print, basically our toys were actors in those scenes and just used as props. But yeah, this guy's been around quite a bit. Um, Exciting to have
and
and show off at shows.
that's made of foam, or is that 3D printed?
3D prints. We
Okay.
have, yeah, we have printers that'll print some pretty large stuff. I think the head alone is about, I'm trying to remember, about 7 pieces. I'd gotten more than half of it put together. I'm sitting at my desk and I just want to spin around in my chair and my hands forgot how to work and I dropped it on the floor and it shattered into some 40 pieces. To
Oh.
which Bill and Cameron just kind of turned around, looked at me, and were like, "Well, that sucks. Fix it. It happens.
Oh
Like,
wow.
it's going to take more time to print everything over again than it will for you to fix it." So I had to remake some parts and backfill and reinforce. And overall, I think it turned out all right still. It was my first time using an airbrush on the head. And so I got that started, and Sherry was nice enough to finish it off with the finer details on there. Because I just didn't have time. I started to get wrapped up in everything else going on. I couldn't be at the desk anymore. And Bill constructed the whole bottom base and painted that up. So it was a team effort. I love that thing. It's awesome to have around.
It is awesome,
It
and
is awesome.
there's no way you could convince me that that was broken into 40 pieces.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
I
you did
got,
a
I
good
got a lot
job.
of good practice at fixing things. A lot of practice at fixing things. And of course,
Mm.
that's Eric's sculpt. So, and I believe it's based on the same files as was used on the figure. So a lot of what we see here is essentially just an enlarged version of what people own now, and you get to appreciate all that detail a little bit better when it's at 1-to-1 scale.
Yeah,
Has there ever been any thoughts about selling boosts like this?
It's been talked
Yeah.
about, but honestly, at the price point,
Yeah.
I don't know how viable of an option it is. It would be a very limited run. I don't think we would be painting them here, at the studio. We would have to find a way to, properly mass produce it. But and these things are tricky, so it's more that we'll make one and bring it everywhere we go for everybody to enjoy.
Yeah.
But this
awesome.
particular table was meant to be our a figure obscura display. So off to the left, we just had all the versions of the characters that have come
think
out so far,
I think
and
this next
that was
picture
a good
shows the
spot for
rest
him
of
to
the.
go. Yes,
Yeah.
there we go. Yeah. So yeah, that's where we are so far.
Yes, that's
And
the first time I got to see the repaint of the Headless Horseman and
yeah,
the Father Christmas. Uh,
well, I'm
uh,
Oh,
very
the green
excited for
robe.
those. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna have that second Father Christmas on the shelf as just some woodland wizard, almost exactly like that. Just kind of take off the Father Christmas type parts, just swap around some things, and he's just gonna be my wizard on the shelf.
And in the middle there, I see one of my all-time favorite figures, Sun Wukong, the Monkey
Mm,
King. I
yeah,
I love that figure so much.
right.
yeah,
Yeah, a little bit of a background display from the packaging. We wanted
Yeah.
to make sure everyone got to see Nate's incredible art. We had one of his banners behind there. It's not as visible, but if you were standing there, you could kind of look off to the side and
um,
see a little promotion for his illustration work that he's done for us. And Oh, it's so good. It's so good, and you don't have to really build anything around these. Just use those backdrops that come with the figures, and you're good to go.
Yeah. I miss Nate
Maybe,
this year.
yeah, I know. I'm always looking forward to seeing him.
Yeah, he's ever since my first PowerCon, which is back in the California days. Nate's always there, and then he wasn't there this year. Felt weird, but yeah.
You
So
may notice on the top shelf on the corners, left and right, we had some prototype figures up there. So we had the new sculpt of a skeleton. Basically what's going to be under
Mm.
the robes of
Harvester.
Max. Yeah, the harvester. Thank you. Yeah, so that's what's underneath the robes there, and the new knight build on the right corner there was some Sir Owain
Oh,
parts just kind of tossed in there to show everyone, new articulation, new sculpt for the upcoming knights in the Necronominus wave. That's what's under the soft goods.
that is my favorite wave so far. But of course, those are my two favorite factions. I honestly get all tingly inside when I, when I think about those two factions and that wave. It's like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah, they have some of the most awesome knights. I'm so happy we have so many new knights coming.
me too.
I'm always going to be a dwarf guy, but it's always going to be secondary to knights and just about anyone in heavy armor.
yeah,
Totally agree. I guess Steven would prefer them as barbarians without the armor if you had to choose. Or
barbarians are where that hits me home, but I really love the knights. I
yeah,
mean, I really do. So I when it comes to Mythic Legions, I like all the factions.
yeah.
I do.
It is hard
Uh,
to choose.
it is.
That's why I like Noble Bear because I feel like it's a mishmash of different type of characters. Just it's people from all over Mythos kind of gathering, like ragtag group.
And
And
do I
most of them
remember
are barbarians, but
when it comes to the noble bear? If I'm not mistaken, isn't that the faction with the most dwarf characters as well? So your love of dwarfs are going hand to hand with the noble bear faction.
sure. But there's dwarves in Arathir as well,
I'm just
and
saying that there are
Xylonia's
more
flock.
dwarfs in the noble bear.
I don't know the count off the top of my head, even though I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on my desk over here. um, but
Let's
yeah, I
move
mean,
on.
you can't deny it. There are dwarves in that faction. Sure, yes.
And now we're looking at what? This is an amazing
This
diorama.
is Yes, this is the Mythic diorama, and we have figures, that have been out for a little while. There's a couple of swap figures in there just for fun. We get to do that sort of thing here. Just a little preview of what's to come, what's on a boat or about to be on a boat.
So you
Yes.
do you pick whatever figures you want, kind of
Yes.
like so just bring I think this should fit and I think this should fit and then you just
Well, of
yeah,
course, we want to have whatever is most recent as far
of
as,
course. Hmm.
pre-orders go, and that's fresh on everyone's minds, and then, really get out there to show people what's going on. But then, you throw in some of the older ones for fun. We have the head pack. The only way to really show the head pack is to put them on different characters. So, just kind of display what they look like on bodies, because in the packaging it's kind of hard to tell. But,
Yeah.
just have fun with it. Show the new stuff, show some old stuff. I throw in just some of my favorites for the heck of it.
I was happy
Don't
to see
don't read
the.
into it too much, people. If you see something in there, you're like, "Oh, why is that in there?" It's just like, no, I just like that guy, so it's in there.
I was happy to see the Furious Four in there.
No, of course,
Oh, that's the
gotta
side
represent.
I spent some time standing right about where Joe must have been standing with his camera when he took this picture. Looking at the Poxus figures is so fun.
Yeah, we finally got those soft goods in, and we're liking how they're coming along. So I don't think we're all that far off from seeing them.
Yep.
Still says Q3, Q4 on the website, but oh yeah. I'll just move on.
I will tell you that Arakagor,
Yeah.
right? That's the dragon, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
He in person, I don't know how the factory duplicates that paint job, but they did it so well.
Yeah.
I think it was the eye candy of the weekend for me, just staring at that particular figure. He's amazing in seeing him, in person, and so excited to get my hands on him.
Yeah, it was a remarkably close duplication to Cameron's work, right down to like the slight like shimmer that it has. It's very subtle. The whole thing isn't like you turn the light and it does not sparkle. Definitely not that far. Just like little flecks here and there, and it's very even. And even some of the metallic finishes on some of the scales, I think the purple are a little more shiny. But oh man, not super excited for that. My son Andrew loves dragons, so like that and Scourge, he's looking forward to getting those in hand.
I would say Arakagor was, if I don't remember wrong, that was my second favorite of that whole wave. Just beaten by Poxus himself, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poxus is very, very busy in all the right ways.
And I love that.
Definitely a step up from what we have done. You want to watch the progression of the line, get more technical, more complicated, involvement of soft goods and paint, sculpt, and detail. Eric's killing it, absolutely killing it.
Yeah,
thank
he
you,
is.
Eric, for that.
He's killing it. Cameron and Sherry are killing it. Everybody's killing it. It's amazing. Yeah. The Jin too. I mean, he's a. I've never been a Jin, like I never would have said, oh, I have to have a Jin. But seeing him in person like that, and I have to have that Jin.
Yeah,
So.
you give me a list of like 15 character types that I want to see, and I think he would end up, closer to the end of that list. But really seeing it is like, oh no, yeah, I'll have one. Like that's cool, and I wonder what another one would look like. That's not suggesting there will be, but no, just seeing that just gets the gears turning.
Yeah, well, yeah. You might not be suggesting there will be, but after him, I want another one. So.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like the work wins me over every time.
Yep, for sure. So.
And here, we're looking at the diorama of the Cosmic Legions display.
That is the Ox Crew crash site of the Gorgonauts. Yeah. Ooh.
The day before the reveal.
Mm-hmm. With some teasers in there, because I don't think anyone was expecting to see, some of the parts in there for sale.
Definitely was not expecting to see some of the parts in there for sale.
Aha! Yes, gotcha.
So that was really, really cool.
Yeah, watching Bill and Dan get that together was a lot of fun. And I know I've mentioned before, but that's only part of the full diorama. We had 2 more sections that we handed off to Trevor for him to do the pictures of everything. Some items further back in the shot, like a mid-ground and like a far background, and larger parts of the ship that should appear further off, where the ship's massive. That container, it's just like one of many on the side of the ship, but further off in the background, you'll see in the pictures, like I think it's the front end of the ship that is crashed, that just came down somewhere else. And of course, it's not going to fit here. This is what we're going to show. At shows like this, maybe LegionsCon, we get it all out there. I don't know, but I could say what you see here is about 75 to 80% of what we plan on it to be.
Nice. I can't wait to see the additions, because that is just it's a ton of fun.
Would be fun. Is there a behind the scenes of the making of this by Dan and Bill that Trevor's calling out here as well?
I should have took more pictures. There may be a couple here and there. I'll have to dig them out. Hey, Trevor. Yeah, man, you killed it, and also you packed this up very well for transportation. I had the pleasure of visiting Trevor to go pick this up from him when he was finished with the pictures and made it all the way out to Ohio. Pretty safe. Very little minor things that needed touching up or fixing for the most part. Whew. It was a little tricky to, a lot of these parts are pretty fragile, so it all made it safe. So nice work. And the
Yeah,
shots he took, holy crud.
just another thing Trevor does great, packing up
The man's a wizard.
dioramas.
Yeah. So
You tell him to stay in his lane, but he has so many lanes.
Oh, he's just
You
swerving.
know?
He's just swerving all over the place.
He does it in style, so it's okay. It's okay.
So with that, we want to tell you, Trevor, stop.
No.
No, we
Keep
don't
going.
want to say
Keep
stop
going.
because everything.
He makes
So-
us look good.
And I remember now that I think when I put the rest of this slide together, I missed the photos with the crates and the computer and the boxes. So need to really put the focus on that here because well, you see it in the middle of the photo and a little bit here and there. You said, Stephen, you really like those parts, right?
I do. I love that. I love that kind of stuff. When I first started getting back into toys, I justified it by making a diorama. I made the huge Masters of the Universe diorama,
Mhm.
and that's fun. I don't do so much of that anymore, but to see this put together, I mean, that's just super fun. And to get those pieces, I think they can add so much more, even if they're just scattered around a detail shelf.
Yeah.
The boxes and crates and things. I think it's going to make any collection look cooler. So yeah.
I 100% agree, and I was not expecting it.
No.
So here we have more of the amazing cosmic figures for display.
Yes, this was the original Cosmic diorama by Brian Almeida. He did a great job. Some updates from the last time that we've seen it. Little touch up of paint here and there, a few more extra elements that were added, especially considering what was coming with Ox Crew.
Mhm.
If you look close enough, there are things in the kind of like vending machine display that I don't remember if they appeared before or if they were new, but there was little teasers here and there.
Nice.
That was really fun to set up.
Very cool.
I was just the other night we were watching TV with the family, and my children actually had to tell me to stop playing with the toys while we were watching this TV show, and I was like,
I have similar issues, especially when they're coming out of the plastic, like snap, crackle, pop.
yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah.
I started doing that, and then I realized I was just raising my hands and looking at them and said, okay, I'll wait with opening them. And then when someone was visiting the toilet, I was like, it's like, I got it. But then
I'll get ready to
still,
open a new figure, and I'll be like, you may want to pause it. I got another one to open, so they'll hit pause, and I'll break out the knife, I'll cut it, I'll do this, I'll do that. I'll like undo all the ties, and they're like, are you done yet? I'm like, I'm trying to be careful. I don't want to snap anything. Like, you do that in your room? I'm like, but then I'm not spending time with you guys.
Yeah, so this must be something we all do, because I do the same thing. I sit down with the
Yes.
family, and as we're watching TV together, I go get myself a box, and I start
Yes.
opening it
You
up.
are not alone.
That's funny.
good company then at least. Okay.
Yeah.
So just this
The big fella.
the big Kursog statue. I mean, what would you call it? It's an epic statue.
Yeah.
Love this guy. I'm glad we were able to get it out. It is a little bit of an undertaking because you have to take it apart, and every time you do that, you risk banging it up. So luckily, he made it with no issues. He made it back home with no issues. He's already standing back up in the office, kind of in the corner, watching us eat lunch. Very imposing, you know. But yeah, we hope to get this out as often as we can. Probably going to be a Legions Con staple.
Awesome.
Awesome, because I missed taking a photo with it last year with
Oh
me.
no.
Yeah, and I was like, everyone was showing the pictures, and I was like, I want to show my kids and my wife. I mean, just for me, I wanted to show.
Right. Sure. I understand.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, there'll be another chance, I'm sure.
That's awesome. And here we start with the actual Ox crew.
Yeah.
And I know, Joe, that you were in Mythic Conversation the other night, and you've gone through all these figures. So maybe you know exactly what to say. Maybe you have a script now, like what you say for each figure. But we'll see. We start with this wonderful Thraxian Scout, which also was the first reveal.
Yes. Thraxian Scout. It's well, I mean, first of all, here we go with Trevor and his trinkets and his camera.
I love Trevor Williams. I love what you're doing, my friend.
So, Thraxian Scout. This looks like this is a new. And I love that look right there.
The angry one.
Yes, yeah. I'm a big fan of expressive faces, and
good.
So I mean that's awesome too, but see, an expressive face makes me say I gotta have 3, because then you got like one of him, and then like 2 of the crazy guys standing behind him. It makes him look like the stoic leader, and these raging lunatics behind him. It's awesome.
Yeah.
You know,
you better get a few, because next wave we'll have Thraxian leaders and shamans and stuff. So you need to pick up a few of these.
So this immediately reminded me of the movie. Oh come on! Don't blank out right now. The Disney, so
John Carter.
Yes, John Carter.
John Carter, yeah.
Yep.
Of Mars. Yeah.
Yes, this reminded me of that movie right away. And that's not a bad thing, because I actually thought that movie was really cool. But yeah, this looked like something that could have been on that world. Did we confirm that is an ab crunch? Joe, you know, right?
It'll swivel, and there's a little forward movement and a little backward movement on that. Because it's print, it's kind of limited. And also, we didn't want to scratch up the paint, so it may even be like a little more separated than what the final product would be. We'll know once we start to get things back from the factory, and we'll fine tune it. We'll make sure it's a really good fit with mobility. But as far as what it's supposed to do, it'll definitely swivel with a little bit of tip, a little forward back. I don't know if he'll be able to touch his toes, but be able to get a little more expression.
So very similar to like a 2.0.
Yes,
Yeah.
Exactly.
I just love it. I just have to say that. I love this one. I love it.
Yeah. Oh, it's so much fun. This one was Cameron.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, that armor's fun. I plan on using it on other things almost immediately. It's going to exist in both Mythic and Cosmic worlds, without a doubt.
I was going to say that is something that you totally can use for Cosmic or
Sure.
Mythic. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this might as well be Mythic. This fits perfectly in both worlds.
Yeah, and I think that's the Poxus loincloth's second use on that guy as well. Could be wrong. I think it might have been Pox's, and it might have been one of the newer skeletons from All-Star 6 as well.
But if that's what you're mentioning, then besides the loin piece, it's perhaps the upper arms. But other than that, everything's new, right?
Yeah, upper arms, upper forearms, as far as I can tell.
But the rest are new parts.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, and the staff. The staff is from Father Christmas with a new
what?
topper.
Oh,
With
it's
a
a
new topper.
topper. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Smart
Yes.
again.
Uh-huh. That's what
Okay.
it's about.
Oh, and the first character that was presented from the Ox crew was Velox Beer.
Yes.
My jaw dropped when I saw this one.
Yeah,
I
he's a hefty guy.
Yeah, I like this one so much.
Yeah.
And we've
And
said it before, these guys are not warriors. They're more like, heavy like construction, reclaimers of sorts.
mhm,
So, while they're protective suits, it's more like, space hard hats and,
mhm.
more than, war helmets.
But it looks like they're going to be forced to kind of be a little bit aggressive and to
Sure.
survive.
Yes, at the very least defensive, yes.
Now, I don't know if anybody's brought this up yet, but they did talk about, and I'm just gonna go off on a tangent here, I guess. But they've talked about how most of these parts are, from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, 1.0 compatible. So
That's the plan.
you should be able to pop off that forearm or somewhere around there and put it on a Mythic Legion, a 1.0.
That is the plan. Yes.
So therefore, I say that could be Fisto's fist.
Yeah, exactly what I was thinking.
Ah,
Exactly.
see, your gears are turning too.
My favorite Motu character could be close in a tribute someday. So
Have you seen? I mean, you probably have, Joe. But I mean, these parts combined with regular 1.0 arms.
Honestly, no,
No,
not yet.
because that gets me very curious to see. I mean, will it work? Or, well, if not, then it will still be super epic like this. But you always start thinking about what can work with what.
Sure. No,
But
all the time. But as far as like, getting to swap parts around and see what works with what, um, initially the main goal when we're starting to work with these is completing what they're supposed to be
yeah,
and making sure they stay in one piece. So really, we don't start messing around with that sort of stuff really until we send off the paints to the factory. And of course, at some point, we'll have a show where
right.
I'll mix up some of these parts with older parts as well. But a lot of it's going to be like prepped ahead of time because it could be a little tricky to do it live, and we want to be able to show people as much as possible as far as the versatility of the parts. But no, I can say for sure I have not tried to put older like Mythic or even the Cosmic parts, mix them around just yet.
Yeah.
We will. We intend for them to work like that, but really it's going to come down to what the factory's capable of doing.
Mm. But honestly, I mean, you know that we all, I mean, all the three of us love customizing and popping parts and all of that. But uh, that is really not the first thing that I saw when I see this figure. It is really to see the figure as it is.
Right.
I love seeing these parts together. I love the thought behind it. I love understanding the lore behind this character, who he is. I don't see him as as a bunch of parts put together that I can rip apart. That's not my first thought about this.
Sure.
And I analyze everything. So I analyze myself. I wonder, but I think it is because I really love how it is, how this looks, and also I'm very interested in this lore.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I feel very lucky in that I want to paint just about every character type blue. And this is like the second time where it's like when I get one of those, I want to like blue it out. And this, I just buy it and it's done.
Yeah.
Same with of course I'm gonna blank on the names, but there's another character in in the second wave of Cosmic, that kind of looks like a Tusk soldier of sorts. And
Mhm.
I think it
Yeah,
works within the prison, but he's predominantly like blue and gray as well. Where I'm like, all right, guess I don't have to work on that. And Olek, a scaly blue alien guy. So I'm like, win, win, win when it comes to the colors on these, and just about everything else. It's like you said, like just enjoying it for what it is as it's designed without taking it apart. Like I love the customize, but really I'm appreciating like what these are as is right
yeah,
off the bat for sure.
exactly.
Yeah.
So we'll move on from him to his wife, Uluria Spear. It feels, first of all, like I have to repeat this every time, but it's worth repeating. Trevor Williams, I love you. Thank you for taking photos and making, all these amazing figures come alive with these settings.
He's even got the light coming off of the flashlight on her
Yeah,
gauntlet.
that's
The amount of detail he puts into this stuff is awesome.
and one of the things that I love with Mythics, Cosmics, and Figure Obscura, uh, the minimum amounts of visible joints, which we all love because it's make the photography looks real,
Yeah.
But it really is one of the main things. When everyone starts to, or well, some are starting to shout for more joints and more. I'm like, no, 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 no double elbow, no double that. I mean, make them still look this great. So, and we move on to one of the beautiful head sculpts, one of the wonderful female head sculpts of Eric Treadaway.
Yeah. If she was married to Will Smith, he'd be slapping somebody, but
Oh, come on.
I mean, it's still beautiful.
Are you saying that this is no? So
That looks so cool.
Keep my wife's name out of your mandibles.
Exactly. I really like her with the little the space hat too.
space
Space
hat.
bonnet, space hood,
Yeah.
space cowl.
I like
Yeah,
that
it's
a
fun,
lot.
and it allows you to swap out those face plates as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to that functionality between the figures and other lines essentially.
Yeah. Honestly, I would like to take this face plate and put it on a Templar Knight. To make a beefy knight. Just, paint the head into a human.
Sure.
A Space Templar Knight?
No, a totally Mythic Legion's Templar Knight. I'm just gonna borrow her faceplate.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
But isn't the yellow parts, aren't they raised on her?
They are sculpted. They are raised. They're painted separately, and same for. So I'm bad. Like I said, I'm bad with names, fellas. I apologize. Here we go. Same with Velox.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want, you can paint it up. They can be scars. Scars can look raised, So
We have the Greg ogre knight.
Mm-hmm.
So if an ogre can become a knight, then maybe a tribal woman with face scarifications can turn Templar knight. So that's not a problem. But now we're talking about swapping parts. But that's just a detail. We're talking about how you can use all these extra parts that are included in this figure.
Sure.
I love what looks to be a lot of articulation for such a bulky built figure. This is gonna be a lot of fun.
Yes,
I love
especially with that toe articulation. We're
Is it
going to
really
make
a
sure it's
toe-
engineered to catch.
Is that real? It's gonna be a
Yes.
toe articulation.
Oh, it absolutely is.
I've heard it many times, but I kind of like not registered it in my head as real. But it's okay. That's
Yep.
cool.
Right at that bolt. I believe, like that the little gray bolt in
Hmm.
between what looks
Yeah.
like the heel and the front of the foot. I believe that's the point of rotation for that to work. So,
Fun
yep.
stuff.
Yeah.
I love how all the circular parts in the torso there appear to be removable and swappable for different I mean, between her and her husband, I think she's a little different. And it's
Yeah,
such
they're
a
designed as separate parts, but like I always say this, I'm not exactly sure how the factory is going to handle it. I don't know if that's something that, like, for instance, like this barbarian head,
Uh,
the helmet's separate from the beard, but it's glued. But if you wanted to, you could separate it if you wanted to. You're technically destroying it, but it could be done. I don't know if it's going to be that situation or if it's going to be a plug system in which those can be popped out. That's a TBD. I don't want to say one way or another on that, but it's a possibility. When you're a customizer, anything's possible. So we'll see.
and we don't have that photo here, but her face mask, um, the kind of robotic face, I don't
Mm-hmm.
have it here. That might be one of my favorite parts of this whole wave. I think it looks super badass.
Yeah, I mean, and it's another way to, if you want another character type that was on that ship that didn't necessarily survive, or just, another character from that, group that they're in, working for that company is it's just another option.
Hmm.
yeah.
And the third member, we can go back and forth between these. Orvar. In Swedish, that would be Orvar, and in
Yeah,
Norwegian,
he's one of
Orvar.
my favorites in this wave.
Yeah.
Because the dwarf style.
Yeah, just like
Dwarf?
the
Go ahead,
a
Joe.
little bit of that. He kind of reminds me of Wolverine there with the color scheme, kind of like, short, wide, bad attitude when he gets angry. The other head for him, it has like these kind of like glands that are
Yeah.
expanded when he's aggravated, just like I guess like some animals their hair stands up. Well, him it's like ugh. He's got a lot of attitude and he's got two very distinctive looks with those heads, and then he's got the dome that can go over the head, or this
Hmm.
particular chest plate that runs around him. So there's lots of potential with this guy.
I love the colors a lot. His armor colors, I totally love. Together with that hammer, and then the details of the grenade on his belt. It's like, um,
Yeah, and you should be able to remove those grenades and mines from the belt, so we can hold them in his hand. You can place it around the figure. You can put it on other characters' belts if you choose, because that belt it just has a bunch of like little studs all around it, and each one of those items, whether it's a canister, grenade, or pouch or container, or whatever, has a hole in the back where you can plug them in, and swap them around. So, whew, so much potential.
so much potential.
And of course, there will be some kind of port on. There will be a part that has a hole for the pegs that come with all the figures as well, so you can plug hoses into the belt, weapon attachments, that sort of deal. Other things other accessories that will come out in the future. It'll all be usable.
So exciting. I think this is my favorite figure
Of the
of
whole
that
wave.
of this wave. Yeah, it wasn't at first. Wasn't I mean, it was up there, but then when I saw them in person the following day, I was like, yeah, I think he's got my most anticipated slot right now.
Yeah.
Love him.
You could tell the details on his chest armor, where on the previous two, there's bolts on the chest, and on this one, I don't know if they're meant to be, light emitters or
Yeah.
like, flashlights, but they're those glossy domes, so they could have a lot of uses.
That is
It's
what
just
I
another
thought.
look out of the same piece.
There was some kind of lights because where he was working. I mean,
Yeah, it could be.
um, Yeah, so I must, before we move on to the next one, I was like, I thought we were gonna have 6 characters. I was not the only one, I know, but I was almost like, yeah, we'll definitely get 6 crew members, and then we're gonna have, and then it's like, this happened, and I like this anymore. Because now I'm looking forward to the next cosmic wave already.
Exactly.
So it's a very smart move. It works on me. And then, of course, I don't know if the next wave will be a next Ox Crew wave, or if it will be something in between, and then we come back to the Ox Crew story. And it's like, I like this. I like this long journey of cosmics that I get to be on.
Yeah. Well, I look at it like this, and I said this last night. Imagine like a show like Game of Thrones, where you have tons of characters from different parts of one world, and you spend 5 minutes with these guys, you see some story progression, and you move on to another part of the world, spend some time with a different group, and that's very much the books of Cosmic Legions at the moment. We get a little story here, little story there, and you meet new people as you go along, the story progresses, and maybe somewhere down the line you start to have characters from different books start to meet each other, and that can be quite exciting, and that's the plan.
So, Joe, I'm not asking you to say what you know, because that's just stupid. I'm not going for that. But do you, while working at the office, do you know a lot about the overall story, about many of the future characters, or do you get bits and pieces? I'm just curious about how much you get to hear, without telling me what you get to hear, because I'm truly not asking for that,
I know little.
Yeah.
I know little. I'll tell you, like I said before, I didn't know a lot of these guys' names until Friday, but I had a lot of time with, I had a lot of time with their parts. So there's working titles in the office, and Eric and Jeremy come up with the story and all that. They're always, working that out after Eric has everything designed, and we at the studio start to build them up and paint them up. A lot of that's just kind of like we get to experience that almost along with everybody else the majority of the time. I do know of a few things that are coming up, but yeah, of course can't say, but I can say like super excited.
But this is so much fun. It's like everyone who's working there, we all have a separate journey of what we get to know and what will. I mean, but just you having the figures in hand, working on them, and then it's like, who is this guy?
Here's a question Joe can answer. Would you rather it be like you're learning almost along with the rest of us, or would you rather know everything? If you had a choice.
If I knew everything, I'd be quicker to forget it. Like I said, I'm still learning their names because I haven't had a lot of time with them. It's been less than a week where this information has been accessible to me, just like everybody else. So even so, when we're talking about them in the office, some people will refer to them by name. Some people will be like, short, angry-looking guy in the orange armor. I like finding out slowly along with everybody else because I'll always be a fan first, and there's still that aspect of surprises a little bit along the way as we go, which is nice, to know everything up front. I'd rather get hints than the full story dump.
Awesome. Awesome.
Moving on to the beast on 4 legs. On 4 legs.
So I want to tell everybody that, and maybe this has already been talked about, but I was in the room when they were revealing these, and this thing is bigger than people think it is. So like I remember looking at at my phone, because I was watching the stream on my phone, because it was it wasn't the greatest visual. The energy in the room was cool, but the visuals were a little different. They didn't have a screen up, like they do at LegionsCast and stuff. And I remember seeing them reveal this and looking at it, and then as Joe was carrying the prototype up to the front, I looked to my right and saw it, and I was like, oh, that thing's way bigger than I thought.
I'm going to step away for a moment, if I
Okay.
could. If you could black me out. I got to dig through, and I'll be right back with you.
There we go. Yeah, continue.
So no, I was just I guess I was done. I just wanted to let people know how big this I mean, it's not, I'm not trying to say it's giant by any means, but from that, like that picture right there, I would expect it to be as tall as a goblin, and it's a much beefier thing than it looks like it is.
So we're looking at the low landscape back right now. What are your, except for the size, what do you think about this one?
I think it's great. I think that, the feral beast type thing with this guy is just, it's so fun. I really love I love all the teeth. I like it. I mean, we're dealing with aliens here, and I like it when we get a little crazy, and I think this is a little crazy, and that's super fun.
So just to give people an idea of how big this guy is, and I didn't want to bring out the whole thing because I'm trying to keep my hands off of the paint as often as possible. There we go. This is a horse head. Most people have this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the head of the scapeback.
Oh my, no, wow. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, articulated jaw. I'm going to be gentle with this because it's kind of held under pressure.
Really?
But how's that for scale reference? Now, when we print these out, they're a little bit bigger than what the production piece will be. So, even if it was just a tiny percentage smaller, that's what we're looking at as far as scale goes. He's a big fella.
Yeah.
No, that's me. No, that's wrong. No.
That's right.
My forehead. Okay, so by showing that, you made this a lot cooler. I mean, you raised the bar and this is what I'm thinking, because we have 6 figures. There is always someone at the top and someone at the rank, because even if you don't want to rank them, and this has slightly been on the lower for me, because I think it's because I'm having a hard time placing it. What is it? How would I display this? What kind of monster? And the more I hear people, you guys talk about it from the studio, I start to envision the articulation of the legs and what you can do with it. How in the end figure, what you will be able to do with it. So I'm pretty sure this is going to be, I think I would like this so much more when I get it in hand. I'm not going to order just one. I'll tell you that. I'm going to order some of these, because I've learned I've learned through the process of trusting, kind of understanding, I guess, what the end result will be, more than I knew before, at least. The articulated jaw, I must have missed that. I can't remember I heard that even.
Yeah, well, it's easier to tool that than a completely other head with an open mouth, and also keeps the cost down, where you can get distinctive looks just by opening and closing the mouth, as opposed to having a whole other tool for a whole other head, when one head can do both.
And the playability, it's so much more fun, honestly. Just
right.
When we're talking about sitting there with your toys, we know that we're gonna sit there with our articulated jaw.
Yeah.
And then our kids say, "Shh, we're watching the movie. Don't make sounds." Oh, sorry.
But it's more fun over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it'll also have a bendy tail as well, so that'll be articulated.
Oh, that is gonna be bendy tail. Oh, yeah.
Yes. If you look at the front legs on this guy, they are the same size as a 1.0 forearm. And should be, you could swap them out if you wanted to a 1.0 figure. That's the plan at the moment. And I mentioned this last night, but it's worth bringing up again. When we were building the prototype out for this, the upper arms and the thighs were originally just off of a Mythic Barbarian. And we had parts that kind of like were sleeves that slid up that added that armor and that extra texture to those parts. But after, looking at it and moving things around a bit, we realized it would just be worth it to go ahead and just have a whole new like tool that had all those parts in it. So you won't have to worry about, fits between, older parts, newer parts, or like the material that's used as a sleeve and keeping it in place. So yeah, they're like the whole the front arms may be able to pop into armor.
Okay,
on a torso, maybe that's the plan.
So it could be put on a 1.0 body, but you could also take maybe if the Thraxians of this planet, if they would have tamed a few of these, maybe you could use the lower arms of the Thraxian scouts, put it on this beast, so it's kind of like slightly armored. Okay, just
maybe.
That's just an idea.
Or maybe the crew, gets one of these guys on their side and finds it out in the wild, and I don't know, maybe it's got a busted leg, and they build in a new one with their suit armor, and now you got one of these guys running around with a robotic leg. That could be cool.
Oh, we're gonna get to this in a bit. Have something that
Sorry,
No, that's perfectly fine. We're gonna come to this. I think we'll move on now because time is ticking. So the last figure, like I said, I missed the crates on the slide here, but the last figure,
Kern Ray.
Yeah.
We were calling this the Stranger in the Office. That was the working title. Very mysterious.
This one on the first run, this was my favorite. I was like, this is going to be my favorite until I saw the little green guy in person the next day. But still super cool. I might be wrong. I might be a loner here. I'm going to say something. I wish they would have never showed us what was under the head. Like, kept it completely mysterious.
Oh, you mean just like put the head in there and like not show it, but have it?
No, like never show it
or
to
just
us.
Never show it.
Yes.
Interesting.
I think I understand what you mean. That's kind of like when
it's so mysterious like that. It's so, what is that? What's under there? It's like Boba Fett to me.
Yeah, you should never show Boba Fett's head. That's what you're
Oops.
Here we have.
Now that's a beautiful head sculpt, and I love it. And I'm not saying, I don't mean it like that. It's fantastic. That should have been, in my opinion, that should have been another character. You know what I mean? But that's just me.
Sure.
That's just me nerding out and doing what, we do here.
I'm going to say that this also was the favorite when it first was released. And it's still my favorite after everything has been released. And we're going to get to Uka as well, because I missed that, but we have to show Uka as well. But this one is definitely my favorite. And with this, I'm going to say that it's definitely my favorite, both from a character point of view and a customizer point of view. I'm going to... here I can't hold back, because there are... So, I'll say that.
Yeah, CJism did a great job with the soft goods. There's a little bit of a, the skirt and the loin is articulated. It'll have the wire in there, and that coat is awesome. It's got a little bit of, spray at the bottom, as if it's, been
dirty.
Going through dirt, dirty. So, that little bit of extra wear that was added. So much great detail put into this. We had the wraps on the lower forearms from Varg there.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah. Finally, we get those back after.
So we get them like a bluish gray, which is nice.
And the belt is totally new as well. I mean,
I think so.
Yeah,
I can't remember. Vorga had something similar, but Yeah,
Oh,
this is newer.
it's not Vorga because Vorga she has that
She has
goes
the
a
big
lot
plates.
wider because to
Yes.
show the feminine sides of her. I mean,
Sure.
but maybe Lean Ray, or what's his name? Lean,
Novian lean.
the Predator guy,
Yeah,
alien.
I don't remember. Yeah, I
Oh,
can take a look.
so
If I have the power.
before we go to the next segment, we have to admit I don't understand how I missed this. Maybe it's because my like I told Steve, my work week is crazy this week. This one.
Yeah. He's a fun little fella.
He is fun.
Novian lean has a different type of belt, so this may be the first appearance of that belt.
Did I? I think I.
What'd you do? What'd you do, Emil? Did you just wreck LegionsCast?
No.
Where's the?
Did I?
No, I don't know. I want to
Look,
see. There we go.
Amateurish, I share this, but we'll manage.
We'll manage.
So, initial thoughts. I start with you, Joe, since you saw it first.
But what a fun character. You know, you can't think of a lot of characters that look like that, like right off the bat. That head is very distinctive. Very fun. Again, not everything needs to be aggressive. You know, it's just such weird features, and the stance that he's in. You know, he's kind of like I imagine him like waddling. You know, using that. Yeah, more of a waddle than like a big step.
I think
I don't know.
Emil.
Maybe he's different when he runs. Maybe he ends up running on all fours. Who knows? But
I think he.
yeah.
Yes.
Because everything will be clanky around his part that he's been
Yeah.
picking up. Like.
And
Yeah,
I think
you have
Emil.
that-
I think Emil just locked in the voice for him.
Yeah, I'm trying to impress to get a role in the animated show later on.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what you do with your cosplay of this character. You have some awesome cosplays.
So when I saw this was the figure that surprised me the most, and I know from the start we've been told that this is just, I mean, this, we're gonna see crazy creatures, we're gonna see real crazy aliens, and I was still in that humans and orcs in space mode, even though I've heard from the start that's not what we're gonna get. But I've been trying to get out of that mode. When I saw this one, I first was like, what? Almost like, I was sitting here early in the morning, 4 o'clock or something, and it's like, it really took some time for me, and it's like, what do I think about it? And then it's like, oh my god, I love it. It's so weird because you could say that right away, but to me it was like, why am I even thinking about this? And then I love it. I love this one so much.
When they showed this one at the reveal, I believe there was an audible "aww" in the room, as everybody just loved it.
For
right
sure.
Off the start.
This creature is a way more cute than Jar Jar. Someone talked about Jar Jar, and I'm like, no, I refuse to say that this is a Jar Jar character. Jar Jar is annoying. This one is not annoying. Uka is
I
more
can't
friendly.
imagine him being annoying. Yeah.
No, he's not. Actually, one of my best friends, he Jar Jar is his favorite character. We will never stop making fun of him for that. Anyway, so I'll stop this.
Just looks like a neighbor coming over to help you cut high limbs on a tree.
Yeah, I like that weapon so much.
So
yeah, this is something that I'm not sure if what we're seeing here on the screen. The 3 members of the Orcs crew. So we have 3 characters out of 6 from the crew. And then we have 3 question marks, because what will the other 3 characters be like? Joe, I'm not sure if you can be part of this and do some guesses what you would see. I mean, if you know something, then of course, please stay out of it. And so I don't even know if you want to reveal if you know or if you don't know. So
I don't know.
You don't know.
I do not know.
Okay, then we can guess together here.
There are people here who know I am not one of them. I can only speculate and say what I would like to see.
What would you like to see? Because that's the question marks here.
So I would like to see maybe 1 reuse of a head sculpt, and then 2 new ones, but variations of what we've seen before. So maybe a male version of whatever race Vorga is. I'd like to see, a variation of that. The one I would like to see reused is, and I'm up on the site right now. I'd like to see a repaint of the unhelmeted head from the Tusk Century, because I love that 6-eyed thing. Just so to see another reuse of that right off the bat would be good, because the science officer we've seen that twice, with one with a science officer and another with the Tusk pilot. It has that type of head. So I'd like to see those 2, and a third, something like, completely different alien type with potentially like different body structure, maybe like a swap around of some of the parts that we see here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And of course, different colors. I like to see a red armor, a green armor, and maybe a gray armor. Those would be my color selections as the predominant colors, and you monochromatic from there.
Nice.
Steven?
Well, I want a robot.
That's my number 1 thing here. Okay.
That'd be cool.
I want Danger Will Robinson.
Who's that?
Huh? Oh,
really?
Neil, come on.
Lost in Space, my friend.
We know you're from Sweden, but come on.
Okay.
It's an old, what was it, 60s or 70s sci-fi show?
Oh, yeah, 60s, I think early 60s.
Yeah.
Okay.
A family, gets lost on a voyage, and they have this robot that, tells them shit's about to go down.
I hadn't planned to sit here and be ashamed, but now I am.
Will Robinson is the young boy, and the robot's kind of always looking out for him. Danger, Will Robinson, danger.
Maybe
Netflix has their own version of it. I thought they did a really good job. I enjoyed the whole series. I sat down and watched that with the family. My son was very into it.
It's not bad.
Definitely not the same story being told. Definitely different, but I appreciated it a lot.
I have definitely not seen the original one, and the new one I have not seen either. I realized that.
And it was a film in the late 90s as well. That was okay.
Is that worth? Okay, anyway. So, a robot.
Yes, I want to see a robot. Which fits perfect for a bunch of workers, because they're going to want something around that can lift things and, whatever. I think that would be fun. So,
I think that's going to be
send the robot to the dangerous zone.
Yeah, and I mean, looking at the crew, it's gonna be a robot or an android kind of creature somehow. Maybe even using that faceplate from, well, I'm losing her name again. Uluria.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
So, secondly, I don't know how they're going to do this, but it's something I'd like to see. I want to see a little guy. I want to see littler than a goblin. I want to see an alien and I don't know, and this might not make any sense, but I can ask for whatever I want. And so I think it would be fun to have a little guy, a little, I don't know, maybe he's super smart, maybe he's something, but a little goblin, smaller than a goblin character. Now, whether they'd have to pack him with a bunch of maybe a couple dio pieces to make him worth the money or whatever, but
like they do with Rocket Raccoon.
Yeah.
They put him with a Groot part. Yeah.
But
we're talking armor here, at least space armor, like the rest of the crew.
Like the other guys. Maybe he has a customized, to fit his body type. I'm figuring my brain goes to like a Salacious Crumb kind of character, or maybe even a little bigger. But I think that would be
cool.
fun.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing that at all.
I have a third one that I think is gonna be similar to the male. To Velox. There's always in the crew this stronger guy. Even though Velox feels kind of strong, but maybe wearing a black armor or something, a darker armor, dark gray armor. Who's the more brute character?
Yeah.
And I imagine the goblin one would be more like the technician, or the one who's like, oh, we're gonna nail this. We need to fix this. Oh, darn! Well, just give me some time, and I'm gonna, that character. And the brute would be like, yeah, whatever. If there's a babe over there, then I'll go over there. And it's like, but there are. I mean, no, not sexist or anything. I'm just saying that's the way he would talk. Yeah.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, and the robot, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I'm done.
No, go ahead.
But these are the crew members. The robot is the. I like this. I like the setup. But of course, there might be something else. But it would be fun if we're nailing some of these ideas.
Yeah, I do think there's I think the strongest possibility of us being right would be about a robot.
Yeah, me too.
But who knows?
I mean, we have the robotic limbs and the Grey Knight wave. Canuck's wool, one of his legs is robotic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's more of a brutal leg, of course, but it kind of. We gotta get the robot.
Sure, we're gonna get the robot.
Yeah. So that's it. And now I see the Will Robinson robot, and that's not what I'm talking about at all.
Oh, you looked it up?
Yeah,
the old one, the very old one.
It is not what I'm talking about.
If you look up the Netflix one, it's completely different. So it's way more badass.
Yeah, that's more like it. One lore teaser. When I was looking about the different factions, Joe, you talked about the Game of Thrones idea. I mean, there are so many storylines going, and they will kind of like merge, and the characters will meet up and like that. I like that a lot. And when you click on a faction on Source Horseman, the website, it's so much fun to see. Oh. So these characters are in the same faction. Oh, exactly. So what's the relation? And that's just so much fun. So I just want to encourage everyone who is a bit interested in the lore to just look around there and see what characters are connected to who. Yeah, just an idea.
When I heard something completely different when he brought up Game of Thrones. I thought he was telling us that the husband and wife were brother and sister.
It wasn't specified. I don't think so. Wasn't going there. Not surprised you went there, but yeah. Who knows? Aliens, they don't have to be like us.
No.
No.
So I asked Steven ahead of the show if it was okay to show a custom figure that I recently did. And he said I could. So I'm gonna show it because
you act like I'm your dad. If you want, it's just funny.
Your show,
I know you're very.
You
I know you're very proud of this, Emil, and we want to support you. So let's show off your custom.
Oh,
This
yeah.
since we're talking about cosmics, this is the first custom figure that I've done that's using cosmics parts. That's same as Aaron from Metroid, and there are so much fun to do with custom. Now now we're just leaning into customization and not. I mean, we love the original characters and all that,
Sure.
Uh, but
Nice.
that cannon, it's so brutal and so much fun. And now I need to get a couple of extra Vorgas because I need more of these guns. So basically, it's a mix of mythic parts and I mean most of the parts are from the this engineer. Yeah, and
Beautiful.
the helmet is a mix of Cassia and I just cut away her face because behind that face it was a flat surface, kind of just a little nose you can take down, and then these flaps I cut them off from a Vampire Legion builder and glue them on there. So
Jeez.
and then you get this. That's basically it.
Very nice.
And
are the side ports? Oh, okay. I was going to ask if the side ports were plugged, but they're open.
Yeah, so
that works.
I didn't plug them. I did figure that it looked good enough, like with open holes.
Sure. Yeah.
And in the back, I actually, I started to drill. I realized that I actually had a small hand drill, and then I used tools like this to drill bigger holes in the back to plug in the pauldrons. So the pauldrons are articulated.
Nice.
I didn't have to glue them in place. So yeah, that's it. Thanks.
Pretty cool.
Very cool.
Good job, buddy. Is this gonna be at LegionsCon?
It's gonna be at LegionsCon, but it's already sold actually. I
created a monster. Good for you, bud.
Thank you. The crazy thing with this one was that it was sold after I showed the teaser picture of the helmet. And a nice fellow reached out and said he wanted to buy it. And I'm like, I haven't even showed it. Maybe you hate it. I want it. And it's reserved, So if he backs out, it will be on sale at LegionsCon. But it will be on display there.
Don't tease.
No.
Wow.
So thank you. It was
good for you. Yeah, it's nice work. Do you ever remake things that you sell just so you have it again?
I've never done that.
That's my problem. I only sell it if I know I can remake it.
Yeah, I've not done that. There have been people who asked to get a figure that I've already done and sold. Like, can you make me a Batman? Can I get that one? Can you do one of these or something similar? And so far I've been like, I don't know. I mean, yes, I can, but it's kind of like I've sold that piece. I've sold that piece to someone. I don't want to make a copy of it and sell it again. That's, perhaps stupid business-wise, but it's more like a trust.
What about a different Batman?
I've been thinking about that. I have two. I have a. Come on, I've been thinking about it, but it's still in that zone of the trust from the buyer.
Yeah, but if it's not exact, I don't think.
I know it's not going to be exact.
If you put a different twist on it, then theirs is still unique.
Yeah, right. I think perhaps I could do that, but as of now, I have 10 custom figures on my table, almost. I think I will finish these first. But it's
because you already sold them, probably.
No, only 2 of them. I have notes here that I've digital paints.
Oh.
I'm just gonna.
You were so innocent the first time you came to America, and now look at you. I know this year at LegionsCon, I'll probably have to drag you out of a strip club. You'll be like making it rain with all your American money.
So this is your fault, and perhaps Travis as well. Travis was very encouraging in selling figures, and I was like, no.
Travis has no soul. He doesn't care.
Yeah, I forgot that for a moment. but it's
And sometimes no clothes.
Oftentimes, no clothes.
Honestly, one thing, of course, is that you feel like you're getting paid for what you do. You know, like, I mean, I still tell people that if you want the money, then go work a couple of hours extra at the local laundry or anywhere. That
Right.
would be easier money. Because if you talk about hours spent, this is not a good business model. But the thing is that you get paid for something that you love doing.
It's more fulfilling.
It's super fulfilling.
You appreciate how you're using your time more than doing something that I'm the same way where I used to be very physical at work. So I stayed in decent shape. Now I'm not moving around so much. It's more of a desk job. But I like so much of what I do more. It's more fulfilling to me. So I'm not getting the workout, but I feel better after working a day at this studio compared because I like how the time is getting applied. I like who I work with. I like what we do. So I could be making far less money and still feel better about my situation. And like I've done commissions before, but I enjoy it more when I just make something I like, and if someone likes it and they want to buy it, then okay. More than me making what somebody else wants, and it's like I don't need to be happy with it. They need to be happy with it, but sometimes there's a bit of a hassle. I appreciate it more when you could be more creative with what you're doing. That's not to say that I don't like, painting things the way I'm told here, not at all. That's great to be part of this. But I understand what you're saying as far as, more fulfilling to the soul than to your pocket. Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons I didn't take commissions.
Right.
I don't. First of all, when after last LegionsCon, I only sold a few figures there, but that was the start. And someone reached out to me asking to make a commission, and I was like, no. But I mean, what would you want, and how much would you pay for it? And it's like I'm not a businessman when it comes to selling your creative stuff. Well, maybe I wasn't, but then we agreed on something that, well, he offered actually more than what I said. No, not like that. Let's do it like this. And the trust from that person to me, like, I trust that you just create a tribute to this character. Okay, so no, I don't want to see it. I want to see it at LegionsCon. What?
Wow.
You want to see it? I mean, what? Yeah, I mean, so I have a few commissions where people won't want to see their commissions until they walk up to the table at LegionsCon. So, some of the figures that I've done and then shipped away, I'm super nervous. I send away the figure, and then I'm like, when they get these figures, maybe I'm sure they're gonna look at the figures and then they realize I'm a fraud. They're gonna see that, oh my God, this is not as what I was promised. And I think that every time. And I see that smirk you have there, Stephen, but it's a true comment. So when people reach out and say, oh, I'm so happy that I got these figures, then it's like,
right. You're not happy till you know they're happy.
Exactly.
Yes. Understood. Yeah.
But this is the best action figure lines ever. Just sitting in the sofa playing with the figures and the customizing aspect to it. But just without the customizing aspect, this is the best toy line. This is the most fun. So,
agreed.
Yep.
Wow. I think we did it.
Yeah.
I think that's a wrap.
It is.
Oh,
lots of fun.
Man. Thanks for coming on, Joe. I know
you're welcome.
Did a podcast last night. You're doing it tonight. You're in demand, man.
I'm getting some practice. It's nice. I mean, I could go home and talk to the missus and my son about this stuff. We'll be like, oh, okay, Dad. So I enjoy my time with you guys, knowing that you're just as into it as we are here, and it's much appreciated.
We are. It's always fun talking.
I'm one of you guys too. So
it was great talking to you, and I want to say thank you to everyone who's seen all the comments. wonderful, kind, nice comments. Yeah, just wanted to recognize that, everyone.
Yeah, cool. Time to play the music, buddy.
I'm always slow. But remember, I don't understand the language as well. Okay.
You get so many excuses.
Outro. Come on.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you had fun. We're excited about Ox Crew. We know you are too. Yeah. So, till next time, we'll see you around the land of Cosmerium.
Oh, that's the end. Okay, bye.